Right, for this video I thought we'd take a look at cannibal movies I've got in my collection. So, first up, this one's The Man from Deep River, also known as Deep River Savages. This film was actually the first of all the Italian cannibal movies, came out in the early 70s. It was by director Umberto Lenzi, who, if you know anything about cannibal films, went on to do the infamous Cannibal Ferox, but we'll chat about that one later. This one, it's heavily cut in the UK, but I think it's uncut in the rest of Europe. If you want my advice on the best one to go for, get this, which is the US DVD from Shriek Show. It's got some nice extra features on there, including an interview with the director and the original trailer. But yeah, it's not a bad movie, but it's got some yucky animal violence in it, so if you're an animal lover, you probably won't like any of these movies, because they're all pretty similar. But yeah, this one, I believe it was also listed in the UK as a video nasty back in the early 80s. But that's a subject I want to cover on another video, so we won't go into that right now. But yeah, if you want to get this on DVD and you want it uncut, go for the US disc by Shriek Show, I'd say. As with most of these films, the UK discs are always cut to pieces because the Board of Film Censors has a bit of a problem with sexual violence and animals being injured. So anyway, next up. This is the Cannibal Holocaust, also known as The Last Cannibal World. Again, cut in the UK. This is the uncut US release, though, from Shriek Show again. I think this is uncut in the rest of Europe, but again, I think the US disc here is probably the best one to go for because it's got lots of nice extras on, which the European ones don't. This has actually got it's got one of the last recorded interviews with Ivan Razumov in, who was one of the stars of the film before his death a few years back. Ivan Razumov and Mimi Lay, who were in this, were also in Deep River Savages. Apparently Umberto Lenzi was asked to direct this, but he declined, so they got Ruggero Deodato to do it, and he went on to do Cannibal Holocaust, which is another film we'll talk about later. But yeah, so if you want my advice on the best disc to go for the US disc from Shriek Show. Anyway, now this is probably the weirdest of all the cannibal movies. Now this is Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals, also known as Trap Them and Kill Them. It's by Italian director Joe D'Amato, who did those Anthropophagus movies with George Eastman. I think it is best described as an erotic adventure film. It's got Laura Jemser in, who was played the Black Emmanuel in a lot of these adventure movies. It's, I don't know, the first half of the film's full of sex and shagging and stuff, and the last half of the film's full of mindless violence and gore and blood and stuff, so, I don't know, very strange movie. This one's actually the Dutch DVD from Italian Shock. It's got a couple of trailers on there, plus it's got the original musical soundtrack on as an isolated score, which is a nice feature to have, if you're into disco music anyway. But I'm not sure what the US disc got. Again, the US disc I've heard is pretty good, but I'm not sure what the extras are on there to compare, so it's up to you. You can either go for this or go for the US DVD from Shriek Show. Okay, again, it's another one. It's available in the UK, but cut to pieces because of the sex and violence in. Anyway, now this is arguably the classiest of all the cannibal movies, if you could indeed class any of them as being classy. But this one, The Mountain of the Cannibal God, it's got Stacy Keach and Ursula Andress in, of all people. And for the most part, it's a pretty good jungle adventure movie, but I think the producers were trying to cash in on the savage cannibal boom at the time, so they got the director to film a lot of yucky animal violence and lots of gross gore scenes in. But it's not actually a bad movie for the most part. This is the full uncut theatrical version. If you get the US DVD by, I think it's Anchor Bay or someone, might even be Shriek Show, I can't remember now. It's an extended version. It's got some extra scenes in that weren't in the original release. This one, again, it's uncut, but it's the theatrical version. This one's the Dutch disc from EC Entertainment, which is pretty. It's got some nice extras on here. It's got a set of trailers and poster and artwork gallery and a few other bits and bobs. But again, though, you might want to check out the US DVD because it's got the extra scenes in. So again, it's up to you guys. By Sergio Martino, who did Island of the Fishmen and a few other decent Italian films. Now this is something of an oddity. This is the film The Primitives, also known as Savage Terror. Now this is actually an Indonesian cannibal movie, and it's, for the most part, it's ripped off Last Cannibal World, or Jungle Holocaust, whatever you want to call it. It's even got a few films that were, it's even got a few scenes that were ripped straight from the film. Basically, it's a bunch of students go into this jungle and get captured by natives who then do unsavoury things to them. Very, as I say, not a bad film again, apart from the animal violence, but the most bizarre thing about it probably is the fact that the intro music was by German techno band Kraftwerk, that song The Robots. Look it up on YouTube or Google, I'm sure you'll come across it somewhere on there, but one of the weirdest songs you'd expect to find on a cannibal movie. It's also got music from Star Wars in here, and I think they've ripped off some Jean-Michel Jarre tracks as well, but not a bad movie, but very hard to come down. I think there is a bootleg DVD of this out in the US if you hunt around Amazon, some of the sellers on there. Anyway. Now this is my favourite of all the cannibal movies. This is Cannibal Apocalypse, or Apocalypse Domani as it's known as in Italy. It's by, what's the chap's name? Antonio Margheriti. There was another one that did a lot of these Italian action films. It's not actually set in the jungle though. This is actually about a bunch of former Vietnam vets who arrive back from Vietnam and find that they developed a taste for human flesh, and every time they bite someone they start developing a taste for human flesh, a bit like zombies, except they're still alive. Yeah, they're not zombies, they're cannibals or whatever, but yeah, this one is available in the UK. It's only slightly cut. There was one 1 second cut, some rats getting splattered with napalm or something, but US disc, fully uncut, plus it's got a stack load of nice extras on there, including interviews with the cast and crew and stuff. As I say, this is definitely my favourite. It's more of an action movie, really. John Saxon, who's a star in a lot of horror films, he was in Nightmare on Elm Street, I believe. He's in it, so is Video Nasty regular John Morgan, who was in some other cannibal movies, which we'll come to shortly. But yeah, I mean, again, US DVD, one to go for, and this is arguably my favourite of the bunch. Now, this has just been described as the mother of all cannibal movies, Cannibal Holocaust by Ruggero Deodato. This was, he did this on the back of the Jungle Holocaust, or Last Cannibal World, whatever you want to call it. Probably the most infamous of all the cannibal movies. Again, it was another one listed in the UK as a Video Nasty a number of years back. It is available in the UK now, but very heavily censored. This is the Dutch disc from EC Entertainment, which is in widescreen. It's got interviews with the director and some nice trailers on and some other bits and bobs. But also comes in a nice slipcase. There is a US DVD from Grindhouse, and I've heard that the Grindhouse version is probably the better one to go for, but I haven't got round to acquiring that yet. But yeah, I mean, it's up to you. You can either go for the EC disc or the Grindhouse one. It's got porn star Robert Kerman in, and I mean, I'm sure you know the rest of the story, but yeah, go for either the EC disc or the Grindhouse one.